Hey guys, Sandy here and welcome back to my channel. Today we are celebrating Lisa, who is Pink Glitter Scrapper. We are celebrating her 5-year anniversary on YouTube, and in celebration we are scraplifting. So I have this one of Lisa's layouts that I really liked. It was a layout she scrapbooked about herself, and lots of fun layers and a little bit of mixed media. So I am going to do the same thing. I've pulled out my 5th and Monaco 6x8 pad, a sheet of white cardstock, a sheet of black cardstock. Let's see what I can do. Now I'm going to start out with a stencil, and I'm going to be using the raspberry ink from Close to My Heart. I am using a blender brush. Now a blender brush does put on ink in a great way, but it also puts on less ink than like a sponge jobber would. So we're just having something light through here, and you can see it's just a light little bit. And then I'm going to pull out my glitter glaze, which is also in the color raspberry, and I'm going to go ahead and place that down. Now I am just using a small little bit of purple tape to hold my stencil in place. And I am not putting my glitter glaze through the stencil to entirely fill the pinwheels. I am just kind of putting it through the stencil so that it kind of just stays up. Now, I decided to go ahead and put just the glitter glaze through the stencil like really quick. And I do it so quick that I actually moved the stencil and smeared the glitter glaze underneath of it, but I'm going with it, you guys. I am just going to keep that there, and I'm not going to worry about it. Now I do add a little bit of spray mist as well, because Lisa has spray mist in her layout that I am scrap lifting. And I just wanted to add a little bit more mixed media than the mist. I do like mixed media on my pages, so I just wanted to add a touch more. I am going to blot off some of those spots with a paper towel, and then I'm going to get started on the actual layout. So I went through my 6x8 paper pad and just pulled out some papers that I thought would work. I was originally going to mat the photo just on this pink sheet of paper, but I decided to mat it on the black cardstock just to give a contrast and some difference between my photo and what I have going on with the layers in the background. So on Lisa's layout, her photo is horizontal, but I didn't have a horizontal photo of myself while I was by myself. I only had the selfie. And I do have a lot of work selfies. I actually have a lot of selfies. It stems from my husband and I sending selfies to each other. So for a portion of our marriage, when we lived in Maryland, he worked in New York, and he would leave at the beginning of the week and come home at the end of the week, and we would send selfies to each other on a regular basis. We would text, "I missed your face," and one of us would send a selfie. So that's just been a part of our lives since that time, and really we still do it pretty regularly. Not as much as we used to do it when he worked in New York, but pretty regularly now. It's just been a part of our lives, so I have tons of selfies. There we go. Now I decided to build my layers off of my background, and that is something I do I don't want to say occasionally, I don't want to say pretty often, but I do it. I do build the layers off of the background. Definitely when my background needs to dry, that is definitely a time that I do that. In this case, it also helps because I scrapbook on top of this grid mat. And what that does is it allows me to get the layers straight, because I can use the grid mat lines. Now this scrap of paper right here was sitting on my desk from my Follow a Sketch Friday layout. I'm glad I didn't toss it because I did use it for this layout. My scraps off to the side need to be trimmed down and then determined if they're going to be kept, if they're large enough to be kept, or if they are just too small and they'll stress me out. So that is next on the agenda, because I'm just about finished voiceovers for the layouts that I have scrapbooked today. Some days I scrapbook a layout every single day, and I am doing that layout for the next day. And some days I have a chunk of time, so I scrapbook a bunch of layouts. Today is one of those chunk of time layouts where I'm scrapbooking a bunch. I have done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 layouts so far today, and this is the 5th voiceover. So that is pretty exciting. Hopefully I'll be scrapping some more layouts as well. But I have been sitting at my desk for a while and haven't really been putting my feet up, and I'm starting to swell up a little bit. And while that doesn't happen a whole heck of a lot anymore because, I'm taking better care of myself and eating healthier and all that junk, we did eat at Texas Roadhouse yesterday. Alex and I went out to lunch, and woo, boy, their food is salty. So when I came home, and then at the end of the night when I was taking my jewelry off, my fingers were a little swollen, and now my ankles are swollen a little bit. So, I did it to myself, but it is what it is. So now I have dug out my 2 bins that kind of feel this way to me. And I don't know how to describe it. I can't really describe how I sort my die cuts. I can definitively say I have florals. I have, airplane/travel ones. I have, but beyond that, it's a way that the die cut makes me feel. So all of these die cuts that are in this bin right here make me feel a certain way. And that is how I am feeling when I look at this scrapbook layout. It's not something I can put into words. It's very emotional and feelings based. And a lot of the times my scrapbooking is very emotional and feelings based. I scrapbook what I like. I scrapbook with the products I like. And I do the things that I like to do. I don't necessarily follow design rules. I don't necessarily follow, trends if I don't like them. If I do like them, I'll do it, but ultimately it's all about how I feel when I'm scrapbooking, and I think it's a bunch of nonsense to follow rules that are put in place by who, I would like to know, who put out these rules. If I'm scrapbooking and it just happens that the design is on a diagonal, well, it's not because I'm thinking I'm going to do a diagonal design today. It's because I like the way it looks and I like the way it feels. If I end up having things that are in clusters of 3 and I create a triangle, that's because I like the way it looks and I like the way it feels. It has nothing to do with the fact where I set out to actually scrapbook a layout where I'm following the design principle of a triangle, of a cluster of 3. Like, who cares? I don't care about those rules. I don't care about them whatsoever. Even now when I'm scraplifting, I add it and I'm doing it a little bit differently because it's my page and it's my layout, and you got to be true to yourself and you got to be true to how you like to create, and that's just the way it is. Now, if you don't know how you like to create and if you don't know what you like to do, then when you scraplift, like, copy exactly and see if you like it. And if there's things that you like or you're finding, well, I want to add this or I want to change this, go with it. Like, just go with however you're feeling. I don't know. I just have found that I am so much more happier with my scrapbooking. I'm so much more productive with my scrapbooking when I just do what I like. And it doesn't matter to me if people don't like my layouts. It doesn't matter to me if people think I scrap too many 1-photo layouts. It doesn't matter to me if people think I scrapbook too many photos of myself. I'm finding that I'm scrapbooking a lot more photos of myself, and I'm finding that I'm scrapbooking a lot more of my own personal story these days. And I think that's probably because my kids are grown now, And you know, I'm not scrapbooking their first moments, their first tooth and their first this and their first that. Now, you better bet your sweet Bippy I am scrapbooking the fact that Lana and Alex are going to be home together this weekend, and they're going to be carving pumpkins, so that'll definitely happen. But, you know, it's not... I would say our lives are not so very little kid focused anymore. So I'm getting a lot of scrapbooking about me done. Now, as I was just running my mouth, you saw me build my layers. I thought that I was going to like these stickers from the Vicky Bouton sticker sheet here because they kind of reminded me of the pinwheels. But once I get them on the page and I'm finished putting them on the page, I don't like them. So they come off. And then I decide what I'm going to do is just use some of these black puffy hearts because I am a fan of the black puffy hearts. And they are going in a pretty diagonal way on the page, which is cool. But I wasn't thinking I need to put these on a diagonal way on the page. I mean, I put a little black heart over here on the top left of my clusters because I like the way it looks there. And two of the hearts that I've placed on the page have 2 hearts, and they're all different sizes, and this one has 1 heart. So, you know, I didn't even follow the same thing if you're going to put 3 things on a page. I just didn't. And I'm happy with it. Now, I was talking to Lana about this layout, and Chloe was on the phone, and we were discussing whether or not this page needed to be matted on some black cardstock, or if I should just do an outline border. Ultimately, we all had the consensus that needed an outline border and not the cardstock. So I grabbed my Muji pen, and it is a Muji pen in 0.38, and I go ahead and just do some messy lines around the edge. And then I'm actually going to color in 3 hearts on the 2 corners of the layout as well. So I have 3 up here in the upper right hand corner, and then I'm going to do 3 down here in the lower left. Now the ones on the lower left are going to be vertical while the ones on the upper right are horizontal. And I just like the difference. If I'm going to do something, I'm going to do it the way I like. I keep telling you guys that throughout this entire layout. And I don't like the hearts when I do something like this, whether it's hearts or stars or flowers or whatever. I like them to be different. So that's what I went ahead and did. And that's going to do it, you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please make sure you checked out all the links down below to celebrate Lisa and her 5 years on YouTube. Go ahead, click that subscribe button if you'd like. Ring the bell, you'll get a notification every time a video goes up on this channel. And I will see you again real soon for another video.